Zoom. Hey, nice. We're recording right out the gate. Look at me.
Yeah, we actually did it.
Saying hi.
The buttons at the same time.
Yeah, great work.
You're not as high as you thought you were.
I am on a lot of CBD right now.
Yeah,
so.
Steve hurt his shoulder sleeping.
Sleeping,
yesterday.
yeah. I'm at that age.
Did one of those moves.
Yeah.
He's high on edibles and everything else. So.
Yep.
Well, welcome to the Rotating Tab Podcast. I'm Corey David.
I'm Steve Vanderploeg. We're here today in sunny Netherlands, Colorado.
It's snowing. It's majestic.
It is. It's actually like a very nice snow. The drive up here was beautiful. But we're here at Untitled Brewing. Very, very happy to have these guys on the podcast.
Yeah, this tap room is sick. The beers are fantastic. Could everybody just go around the table and introduce yourselves?
Great start.
Yeah, you guys are like...
My name's Chris. I am the founder and head brewer of Untitled Brewing Company. I live in Netherlands. I got a cool team here I'm going to pass it off to. So.
Nice. We got a real Olympic torch pass.
I'll take it over. All right. Yeah, my name is Jordan Lantern. I am one of the brewers here at Untitled Brewing, and I'm Chris's right-hand man most of the time.
I don't know if that's good or bad.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Evan. I'm the new guy around here, assistant brewer.
You're the left-hand man.
Yeah.
It's a real ski pole operation. Just whichever side Chris wants to wants to run next.
Don't make me blush.
It's too late. So, Evan, where were you coming from before?
Left hand.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hence the pun.
Yeah. That's
Got
the
it.
fun.
Remember how this is a comedy podcast?
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one went way over my head. This is like when you tell a joke and 30 seconds later somebody else like in the back just goes, aha! And they finally get it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's sick. So do all you guys live up in Netherlands?
Yeah.
Yeah, for the most part. I live just down the road on South Beaver Creek.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's the population here?
8,
9?
2,000 maybe?
2,000?
Yeah.
All right. Tight.
It's like around 10 for like the whole peak-to-peak region, which is like Jamestown, Gold Hill.
10 people,
Yeah.
yeah. I was like, man, Chris is coming in with the heat today. All the singers. You're zesting lemons as we speak, yeah?
Yes.
Cool. What are we zesting for? Are we making a cocktail later or what?
So we have a sour beer series called the Goo.
I've heard, yeah. There's lots of goo on the board.
We got 3 on right now. Kind of our flagship on that is thick strawberry goo. And we kind of focus on blending acidity with intense fruit flavors, as well as herbs, flowers, and sometimes zest, dry hops, a little bit more of a blend of like actually kind of from the earth ingredients.
Man, this is a hippie town.
So yeah, making a thick something goo, but you'll have to stay tuned soon to figure out what it is.
Yeah, and he's actually going to pop that out of the oven by the time we're done with the show.
Definitely of all of our beers, it's kind of like our most culinary focused beer. Like definitely trying to blend in, layer in different flavors, and go for like he's doing zest in this, and layering in different aromatics, different herbs. Just trying to make a complex fruited sour beer.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, do most of the beers that you guys make have adjuncts, or is it usually just like the sour stuff?
This is kind of the one where we go adjunct crazy.
Yeah.
Just all sorts of kinds.
Yeah, for the most part, I'd say we're Reinheitsgebot for most everything, but this one we go nuts.
Yeah, it's overrated.
Did you hear that pronunciation though?
Reinheitsgebot. I don't know what you're Reinheitsgebot about.
He was practicing.
He's been getting.
Yeah, I've been practicing for days on that one.
Yeah, he's like, I'm gonna be on television. I gotta make sure I get all my words.
YouTube star.
I mean, so where are you guys sourcing your fruit? If you're buying that much of it, is it like the local farmer's market, or do you just raid King Supers once a week? Like when a bus rolls up to Burger King and people are like, oh fuck, it's these guys again.
Well, for stuff like this, we just go to the co-op.
Yeah.
Like, this is all like accents. Like, we'll just add a little bit just for layering and just like a little bit of zest, flavor, and aroma.
Yeah.
I mean, we're doing 6 lemons for the whole thing, but lemon zest is actually pretty strong.
Yeah.
So it'll just kind of be like a little sprinkle.
Touch.
But we do fruit purees for most of it, and we source from Oregon Fruit Company. aseptic fruit puree, and then Source of Nature. Shout out, they're a local company. If you've ever heard of Wiley Roots, visit from the Fruit Lady series.
Okay.
That's the Fruit Lady. So we just started working with her. So depending on what we're after is where we get it from.
Sure.
And yeah, I mean our beers typically have close to 1,000 pounds of fruit or more.
That's a shitload of fruit.
Yeah.
That's like a lot. Have you ever considered just going right to the source, just going to Costa Rica, getting a bunch of bananas yourself, trying to ship them back, or what?
I haven't.
That'd be a fun field trip.
Have you guys?
It would be a fun field trip.
Yeah.
Have you guys done any foresting out here? Where you're just like, we could use some pine cones for this.
Actually, yeah. So we haven't done it since we opened, but we had this kind of ambitious idea that we were going to do these foraged ingredient farmhouse ales.
Yeah.
And when we opened up, we did a beer with 40 pounds of hand-picked dandelions. That we did called Golden Forest in the Sun.
How long did that take?
3 days.
Did you just camp out in the woods and just get on a hunt every day?
More or less, yeah. The sun is out and we're picking dandelions.
Naked.
Yeah. Just the Netherland way.
Yeah. We need to make a crown of dandelions first, and then we'll pick the rest. We'll pick the rest.
So we had that when we opened up, and the beer turned out great, but we decided that's a lot of work, and we're gonna focus on other things. But we were happy to have that for our opening day.
And then you just make the new guy do it when there's 2 feet.
That's right.
That's right. Yeah.
Like, here, Evan, we need 50 pounds of
So many-
cranberries. Sometime in the next 5 days. I think you can handle it. New brewer / forager.
That's right.
I think that's
All right.
great.
I
Put that on your resume.
Yeah.
toured some cideries in outside of Portland one time, and we did like an all foraged. The entire cidery was all foraged apples, and I gotta say, everybody else loved it, but I thought it was not good.
Yeah.
I really didn't care for the flavors.
The actual cider itself.
The actual cider itself.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean,
he
it's
just
hard
hated
when you're
the
like.
process. He was just like, fuck this shit, go to a big farm.
No, I respected the process. It just wasn't my favorite of the ciders I had up there.
Well, I know you guys were super excited about telling your joke when we got here, so I think we should probably get to the chug.
Yeah, it's time to chug some beer
Yeah, I
for
think
sure.
it's
Oh, we chug before we tell
All
our
right, so, yeah,
jokes?
so here's the deal. Give you guys a little bit of a rundown since I don't know if Chris gave you the rundown on a lot of the show.
I did
except
not,
for the
no.
chat.
I told them you guys were going to be here, and I just reminded them. I was like, hey, by the way, we got that thing on tonight, so just stick around for a little bit.
Just be yourselves, hang out. So the way it goes is you chug the beer, you tell us what the beer is first, and then you chug it, and then as soon as you're done, you tell the joke immediately after. Now, as soon as the beer hits your lips, Steve will start the timer, I'll provide some color commentary, you guys are more than welcome to do the same thing, and then as soon as you're done, we stop the timer, and we'll go over the times after.
Oh, all right.
Pretty straightforward, right?
Yeah.
And are you guys opting in on the 8%?
Yeah,
Loophole?
I have an 8% beer.
These
Nice.
are all 8%
Hell yeah,
beers.
fuck
Yeah.
yes. All of them?
Yeah, I was
Great.
going to say, basically your whole board is
Yeah.
it's close to 8%. You know, how would you
We
like
got a
to-
sessionable 6% lager.
Yeah, super session
that is
6.
the only. Wow.
If I'd been day drinking all day and the only thing left in the cooler was above 6%, it's like, well, see you later. I guess.
I'd be drinking for Ned at that point. That's where I'd be.
What do you guys? What order do you guys want to go in? We have to do them separate just so we can keep track of the times.
Okay. I'll go first.
Jordan's stoked. Jordan's been with this is his big
Now,
moment.
Chris, are you putting any money on either of these guys? Is there one or the other that you think's going to be top dog?
I think Jordan, just based off of his track record.
Shit,
I mean,
you'll
You,
get-
you really been hyping this up. I really
Yeah.
we do beer shots at the end of just brew days,
Yeah.
casually, if we all remember, or just the end of a Tuesday, hey, beer shot.
Yeah.
Yeah, why the fuck not? You got enough beer sitting around?
Yeah.
And it's usually a little 5-ounce Hellas pour, and I don't know how he does it 3 times faster than just gulp.
Well, yeah,
I don't know.
I used to work for Upslope Brewing Company in Boulder, and every time we would do a canning run, there'd be pretty much every time there'd be a company-wide shotgun at the end of the canning run.
Hell yeah.
So, I worked there for 2 years, so I shotgunned a lot of beer.
A lot of shotgun beer.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
crazy because a lot of the beer people now they're like, I haven't chugged a beer in I don't know how long, or shotgunned a beer.
What we found is that most people that are reluctant actually wind up doing pretty well.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
reluctant. Chris definitely talked me up, but I'll do my best.
We believe in you.
I'm gonna represent. Yeah.
All right, whenever you're ready, man. So tell us what you're drinking.
Yeah, so I'm drinking our 8% Imperial English Porter called Flickering Lantern. It's got it does have some adjuncts. It's got some cocoa nibs and vanilla bean that it's aged on.
English not mild at all.
Yeah,
It sounds pretty
we're going
intense.
for Imperial.
Northern English.
No, our Northern English. Yeah, we looked at the style guidelines and.
Oh, good. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm glad you're
don't-
following the right scabooch.
Don't. Yeah, right. Don't worry. All right.
It's all the spec. Whenever you're ready.
Okay. And then afterwards, I have to tell my joke, right?
Yes.
Like
Yeah,
a
but
beat.
don't feel like you got to put too much on your plate at once. We'll remind you
Okay,
about
right
the joke. You know, focus on the task at hand.
Focus
don't
on the
cut-
task at hand.
Asking
Yeah,
a lot
don't-
of questions. It's making me anxious.
Don't run up the field before you caught the ball. Just
Sounds
do it.
good. All right.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, buddy.
Pretty smooth.
Yeah, I mean he's all layered up, so he's gonna be beer sweating later.
All right.
Nice.
Okay.
Respectable.
We got a time. There's a
Oh,
time in
Feel
there.
free to burp.
No, I'm good.
Okay, you're looking a little flush. Not flush, actually rosy as hell.
Oh, thanks. Yeah.
Yeah, you're
That's-
looking,
that's-
looking red in the cheeks.
That's my face for radio.
Gonna have to turn the contrast down on the video.
How'd I do on time?
We'll tell you. Don't you worry.
Okay.
You'll
Yeah,
never
we
know.
gotta do a grand finale.
That's
we
the
can't
thing
just
about
like,
comedy.
yeah.
Comedy, you got to tell us a joke, you know?
Oh, that's right. Okay, so my joke. How do you drown a hipster? You throw him in the mainstream.
Oh yeah! All right.
Wow.
Respectable.
Yeah.
That's a witty one. I like that.
Is that the name of the little river you got up here?
Yeah,
Main Street?
that's the mainstream. Yeah.
It's part of Dead
Yeah.
Guys. Dead
Yeah,
Guys.
yeah.
We sacrifice a
We
hipster
sacrifice a
every
hipster
year.
every year. Yeah.
Go down to Pearl Street, bring one up back.
That's how we all keep our essence.
Yeah, that's right.
The lifeblood of
That's
Netherlands
right.
is bathed in
That's how,
hipsters.
that's how we all stay so young. I mean, look at us.
Yeah.
It's like that glow you were talking about earlier.
I'm actually 80 years old. All right, who's up next?
I'm gonna go next.
Hell yeah.
Nice.
Set the
No pressure for
precedent.
this guy going last.
Set the
All
tone.
right. All right. Yeah.
What you drinking on here?
I'm drinking on BAM. BAM is the correct pronunciation. So it's an IPA with hops.
Wow. Wow, profound.
Do you remember what hops are in this one?
And he's the brewer.
So,
Cashmere.
this was this Cashmere Simcoe or Cashmere Mosaic Citra, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Cashmere, Mosaic, and Citra. I think. Might have been some New Zealand thing in there too.
We brew a lot of unique IPAs.
I think Galaxy maybe a
It's
little
hard,
bit.
it's
Yeah,
hard to keep
it's hard to get track
honestly.
of. You're like, let's just.
He literally
let's
just
fuck around.
like if I don't have the name like when we're brewing, like just like a couple of our brew logs say some IPA.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't matter really. As long as it tastes
Yeah.
great, and we'll come up with a fun name for it.
Some hazy stuff coming down the
Yeah.
line. Yeah.
Right. Well, here we go.
The fearless leader taking on the challenge.
Also,
Doing all right.
pretty well.
Pretty
Yeah, taking a little bit
acceptable.
of a break.
Yeah, yeah. I was gonna say
Halftime.
got a little side spill, but that's why he's got the beard.
That's right. That's the flavor saver.
Yeah, man.
Pretty good. Nice. Get some good times.
How you feel? You feel like you did better, worse?
Oh, definitely worse, but I mean I feel good about that.
Yeah. You should. You feel strong.
I had like a little lag, like I was like trying to get that past that bubble, you know, and then it's
Yeah.
like
It's hard.
The worst, the mistake we see most people make is they go like too big, too fast.
Yeah.
You know, they're just really ambitious.
The shower in it.
And then they,
Just-
and then they bathe themselves in it, then they slow down and realize what they've done. And they made a serious mistake, but that was good. You had a little caught up at the end. But
yeah, I felt good about it.
I think the time's going to turn out awesome.
So I was a ski instructor, and I used to tell this joke to the kids that I would teach skiing. So we'll see. My kid came home from school, and I asked her what her favorite school subject is. And she goes, well, geology rocks, but geography is where it's at.
Nice! That is a dad joke for sure.
Very dad joke. Honorary Chris Klein. If he's watching, our business partner who couldn't be here today, he is a dad, and he was a dad for Halloween. and he's really up on those dad jokes.
He was a dad on Halloween, huh?
He's a dad, and he's a dad for Halloween. He wore like a fanny pack and like white tennis shoes.
It's like he just saw his kids one day a year. I was a dad for my costume.
I show up big time one day a year for everybody. That's great. So you used to be you were a ski instructor?
Yep, at the local Eldora.
Oh yeah, over at Eldora.
Nice.
Yeah, it seems like you got to be armed with a pretty heavy arsenal of silly jokes when you're just hanging out with kids all day.
You know, I'm really good at off the cuff, just random witty comments that like
Yeah.
little kids like might not really even get all the time, but
Yeah,
prepared jokes.
you're like making Pythagorean theorem references to these children.
Right.
Yeah, you're like a Shrek movie. It went way over their heads, but the adults love it.
Shrek, that's a great movie. Except for Farquaad. I don't like Lord Farquaad.
Nobody likes Farquaad. That guy's a fucking asshole.
You hear that, Farquaad?
If you're watching this, shout outs to Farquaad.
We do have a friend we call Farquaad.
We do have a very big international following that falls into a cartoon world. So, yeah, everybody that's on DMT while you're listening to this, say hi to the boys for us.
What is that?
With DMT?
Yeah.
Oh, I think it's just this rutabaga root vegetable type thing that you put in with different eggs and berries.
Is that you cook breakfast? It's with DMT.
It's basically DMT is whatever's left in my fridge. That's what I'm trying to say. And I need to eat. Yeah, because you guys don't strike me as people that do drugs at all. But we'll get into that for sure. Evan, are you ready for the task?
Yeah, you're right. You're either gonna claim your job or get fired from this one.
Yeah, man.
Alright.
They have zero faith in you. How do you feel about yourself?
I feel pretty all right. I'm definitely not a habitual chugger,
Sure.
but
How long have you been working here now?
week.
Week? Great.
Yeah.
New enough to get fired.
By the way, I realized that how do you feel about yourself was a pretty heavy existential question. So I'm glad you didn't take it that way.
Oh no, I was referring to the chugging of the
Yeah,
beer.
you're good. That was good. That's what I was
Okay,
intending.
okay.
And I thought for a second you might freeze up and be like, I don't know, who am I?
What is this here anyways, you know?
What is this place? All right, man. Whenever you're ready. Wait, so yeah, what beer you're drinking, and then whenever you're ready to rock and roll.
This is Bam. Bam!
There you go.
Yeah,
I wasn't sure if it was the same one. 'Cause of the
It is.
pronunciation.
Definitely has hops in it.
All of our IPAs look kind of similar, but
That glorious haze.
Yeah,
unfiltered.
right on. Well, here goes.
Nice. Oh,
Big gulp
underdog
right off the
for
top.
sure.
Oh my god, he just dusted you guys. Are you kidding me?
Damn.
That's pretty good.
Damn.
Yeah, man. The most respect. You guys trashed him. No respect.
Wow.
You know,
We gotta rip the new guy.
gotta rip the new guy.
Yeah.
And he's
How do you
got
feel,
he's got to
okay?
rip it right back. So
And if you throw up, you get 3 seconds added back onto your timer.
Yeah.
All right.
5 actually. So if we have to clean anything, it's 5.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Cool. Yeah, I got a bunch of air in my stomach. But
Yeah. If you got a burp, go for it. We encourage it.
All right.
That was adorable. Oh, no!
Oh,
You good?
Just foam. It's just foam.
just foam.
Okay.
foam.
Yeah,
Just
we're
had a
good.
little tuck in
Full
his
foam.
lip.
All right.
Still counts, right? We're
Yeah,
good on
yeah,
time.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And you got your joke.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
So we just hired a new girl at the brewery. She's got one leg. She handles the hops.
Nice. A great brewer's joke. We don't get enough of those, to be honest with you.
No.
There's many
And
people
a
that-
brewer's dad joke. Come on, you can't just let me only with the dad jokes.
No, I agree. It's nice. It's adorable. I like it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I don't feel too bitter about it. Come on.
Whoa, that's a bit rolling.
Ah.
All right, cool. You want to go over the times?
Yeah, pretty impressed, everybody.
Yeah, this is a strong crew. By the way, Chris, you should feel proud about the team you've assembled.
Oh
here.
yeah.
Nice.
News team.
Yeah, that's right.
News team.
So, Chris, with your 3 seconds off, you were able to crack the top 10,
Heyo.
knocking Nick from Peculiar out. So you
Sorry,
came in.
Nick.
You came in a total of 7.23 seconds. You get 3 seconds off. That's 4.23 seconds.
Very impressive. Anything you want to say to the fans out there, the people that care about you, look up to you?
You know, I've just been waiting waiting a long time for this moment, and I'm just so happy to share it with my team and you guys as new friends, and just thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
All the glory to us.
See,
Thank
going
you
to
very
Disneyland
much.
if it was open right now. That's Evan and Jordan, both of you, very, very close to each other.
Okay, very impressive. We should tell you how many do we have at this point?
Oh boy, we're up to 74.
We got a lot of chucks.
No,
Oh, wow.
no, well, including them, 76.
Okay.
76.
Back in the top 10 is no small feat.
Sweet.
Yeah, pretty hard to do. So, which one of you guys thinks won between the two of you?
I think he won. That was impressive.
It was pretty impressive.
I think
Jordan took it by 4/100ths
Get
of a
out.
second.
Really?
4/100ths of a second.
Nice. Solid.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, we'll just have to do it again.
I'm honored.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This time 10%.
Yeah, I was gonna say 10% this time.
Yeah.
It's like a hot sauce or a jalapeno competition. You just got to keep upping the ante every
That's
time
right.
until somebody bows out or falls through the window. Either one.
What's that? There's that YouTube show where
Hot
like,
Hot ones?
Yeah, where they eat the spicier wings as the
Yeah.
interview goes on.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, we thought about doing that with this. Start with like a session.
And then build up.
Work your way up till it Everclear.
I mean, we probably could do that at some point.
Yeah.
That'll be like a private episode.
Oh,
That'll be a different episode.
I will not. I will give up after like something that is above 8%. I'll be done.
100th episode. for you
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah.
Pastry stout.
Yeah, I'm hanging on to some bottles and stuff for like our 50th anniversary episode, which is coming up.
Yeah.
We might have to chug them. I'm not exactly sure. So what order did they actually come in?
I don't have the overall times with all the math. Let's see.
Okay, but they just cracked. But
Everybody cracked it. Yeah, you pretty much just knocked out like 3 comedians. So
Yeah.
that's really hard to do.
Yeah, because they don't have anything to live for.
Yeah,
right
exactly.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
We're essential. They're not.
yeah, I know. You can't.
Except one of them works at the grocery store, so he'll be really upset.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm very sorry, buddy.
Yeah.
You had a really good run for a long time though.
Yeah, he did, but
Man. So
his kid's not going to feed himself.
Chris, you poured me one of your guys' Goo series, which is basically like your flagship series, right?
No, it's just it's our flagship sour. Really, up until this point, we just released, which the feature beer we'll get into a little bit later,
Yeah.
is kind of our next release. But you are drinking our thick strawberry-ish goo. And I say ish because thick strawberry goo is our flagship version from the Goo series.
Yeah.
But we took that recipe and just added pineapple and guava to it.
Okay.
So it's got a little bit more of a Hawaiian punch kind of character to it, but still strawberry, raspberry base. There's also passion fruit. Yeah, that's vanilla and milk sugar and motueka dry hops.
Okay. Where'd you come up with the name? Like, where do you guys brainstorm, or do you just keep like a running list of like all the names for all this shit? Because Goo's a great one. Like, I think that's the one it sticks with people, literally and figuratively.
Oh, boo!
Fuck you.
Boo the goo!
Boo the goo. No, we don't want people to boo the goo.
No, not
yeah.
just when Corey says
See,
it.
just the way my statement stands. Fuck you, Steve.
A lot of our lyrics are musically inspired, mostly by the band Phish. So Thick Strawberry Goo is a specific lyric from their song Haley's Comet.
Yeah.
And the lyric is, how would you feel if it rained hungry cashew? How would you like to have your thick strawberry goo? So before we opened, I was like, man, because like the name of the brewery is kind of a deep cut Phish song. And a lot of these are just hidden Phish lyrics that, like, if someone came in and they weren't necessarily into the band, they're like, oh, that's a really cool combination of words, but they don't know. And
like
someone
Easter
who's
eggs.
into the band,
Yeah.
even like we have like people who like are diehard Phish heads come in and they like, will like, be like, oh, I think I know where this one's from, and they're like, I don't want to look it up, and then they'll like guess it to me. I'll be like, hey, you got it, Reading,
Sure.
So it's kind of fun. I mean, we get influence. We got a Grateful Dead lyric up there. Do some Grateful Dead stuff. So the idea was like, with the goo specifically, was thick blank goo.
Yeah.
So it kind of gave us a canvas to explore that. So thick is just, has an image. Goo has an image. What can we put in between there? And we also do like Seinfeld, South Park.
You guys are heavy on the references then.
Yeah, we've had a couple, like one like perpetually unimpressed, which my older dog who's sleeping down here, he like is perpetually unimpressed. So
Yeah.
that's our Nelson Saban series.
Got it. Nice.
So that was just an entirely just from us. Like,
Yeah, that was internal.
So now we do perpetual or perpetually something. So we've done perpetual embrace, perpetual impressions, perpetually unimpressed volume 2, which is the same as the first one, slightly different hop, but he's wearing like Thug Life sunglasses and a gold chain.
Hell yeah.
So we just kind of tweak it and really go off of our feeling in terms of what's cool that week, what's fun, or like what's in my head. Like, so it's really
Yeah, sure.
What's cool that week?
It's mostly
Seinfeld.
it's mostly what's in Chris's head. We'll come in the morning and we'll be brewing, and he's like, I've got this idea, and it's like like rushing to the brewery, like all disheveled, like mad scientist, kind of like I've got this idea, and it's like, okay, man, let's do it.
Yeah. Is it just like, you know, when you're like tripping, you're like, this is a brilliant idea. So you write it down, then you look at it the next
Well, I
day.
gotta say, after the chug at the end of the workday, hearing that actually means a lot from Jordan, because usually at 8 or so in the morning, he's like, whatever, dude. So thank you.
It's like, I'll do it. We'll do it.
Is it a requirement to be a Phish fan to work here?
No, but it's highly encouraged.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you all Phish fans?
I wouldn't say it's encouraged.
Evan seems on the
It's kind of like I listened to Phish when I was in Vermont, and
It's more of a string
Is
check.
that like a Phish show because they're from Vermont? Like,
no, I was last time I heard Phish was I was in Vermont hiking the Appalachian Trail, and then I haven't listened to them since up to this point.
Okay. But now you've got more than you can handle.
I mean,
No, I dig it.
Yeah, yeah. No, I'm a fan too. Steve's not as much of a fan.
Not so much.
But
That's okay.
I wasn't
Just
wasn't sure how
myself.
devout everybody was in the room, that's all.
it is a requirement that you have to stand listening to Phish.
Okay.
So we put it on, but I mean, I'm also listening to like Wu-Tang, Diana Ross,
It's an eclectic mix.
Hank
but-
Williams.
Sure.
We
Yeah.
got a whole bunch of stuff.
This place, though, I would say is a Phish temple.
Yeah.
And Netherland in general, like everybody's waiting for the second coming of Jerry Garcia.
Sure.
Yeah, yeah, sure.
Definitely more so than Phish, and that is a dead town.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. We for me, kind of capturing the spirit of improvisation and intuition is like kind of what that scene is about. So like they go out every night without a set list,
Right.
without a set approach to a song. Like they might take a song out to an entirely different direction that they didn't come up with until that moment.
Right.
In order to
Yeah,
come
yeah.
up with it, you need to practice, you need to have skills, you need to communicate with the people you're doing that with. Like, you know, for this sense, it's a collective.
Right.
You know, like I bring a certain vision to the table, but these guys really help me execute it. So in that sense, it's an improvisational collective. So I
Yeah.
mean, that's what that music is all about. And we try to harness that with the philosophy of the brewery.
Yeah,
I like that. Like that's so much better than like improv comedy, where it's like it's the similar ideas that it just sucks all the time.
But you might get that one joke that just
Right? Yeah. The one that crushes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You might get one, but for the most part, and also it's not like Phish is going out there like, hey, we need a suggestion.
Anybody from the audience, tell us what you did for
Right.
work today. Yeah, yeah. Does anybody ever just break out to like a 30-minute brewing solo where you're just and everybody else is like, all right, we'll just follow along for a little bit. Yeah. Well, if you had to, if the improv analogy were to correlate here, I don't know if anybody would really love a brewery that you're like, well, 1 out of 10 might be good, but you just got to come back and see how it actually works out.
Could I try one of these BAMs that you guys chugged? Is that
Yeah.
Yeah,
possible?
go for it. Here, actually, it's I can pour for you.
Yeah, yeah, it's up to you. It's up to you.
Yeah.
You guys don't wanna, like,
Or Evan's got it.
how's the goo tree now?
the goo is great, man. So I was curious about.
Is it
Fruit-
great or is it goo?
It's great.
It's
great.
Great.
But fruited sours have seemed to come into fashion, you know, the past like 2 years, and a lot of people are doing them. And some are, I don't know, I feel like they're just capitalizing on a fad, and then others are. Seems like that's what they really love to do. So when you guys opened, what was the goal? Like, what were you trying? What beers did you want to put out, and then when did this actually start to take shape?
That was one of our, that was one of the first beers that we Chris, when we were we were at the local library brainstorming recipes before we opened, and he was like, I really want to do this kettle sour with lactose and vanilla. I want it dry hopped. You know, he kind of had this idea, and I'd never done anything like that, and I was just like, okay, man, like we're just like, like we're just opening up. Like, you know, you really want that to be like one of the first beers that we do. Like, you know, doing a kettle sour that's like, you know, fairly complicated. He, yeah, I mean, you know, Chris just had this vision, and you know, we executed it, and I think the process and the recipe really has not changed much from the first time that we made it. I mean, it's we kind of nailed it first shot, and we were like, all right, this is one of our lineups for sure.
Our flagship is 5.2 or 5.4%. I can't quite remember the exact percentage, but it's in the mid fives.
Yeah, sure.
Where if you look at the board, we're in mostly the mid sevens, or that one's 8%. So the only change that we've really made, I think, is increasing the alcohol percentage, and also we're doing that mostly by adding just a lot more fruit.
Yeah.
So the fruit represents fermentable sugar. So if we add, you know, like I will admit, going into our first brew, opening with a fairly ambitious kettle sour was a little intimidating. And then it's like, okay, well, what's this? And then once you get comfortable on the system and with your team and stuff like that, and kind of how different fruit flavors will play with one another, we've decided to just kind of gradually push the envelope in terms of fruiting, in terms of ingredients, adjuncts. And like I said with this one, like we use zests. We're adding lemon verbena to this one. We do herbs, teas, dry hops. And after you guys are done with this one, actually when you get this one, I'll finish this, we'll crack a can of our purple paste.
Okay, cool.
Our next series is an Imperial Goza, which is very similar to the Goo, except instead of doing these kind of like more natural additions, we are going to be doing marshmallows, candy, and kind of the more fun, funky.
Are you doing a lot of these adjuncts to not avoid, but just based on space potentially, like a longer barreling program or like a live culture program? Like, so by kettle souring, you can turn it around a little faster by implementing certain flavors.
We have a substantial barrel age program.
Oh, cool!
already.
I didn't realize.
You walked in. There's all these barrels up here.
Type.
We have 34 barrels plus 150 gallon punch in that have been aging since the first week we've opened.
Oh, really?
We
Nice.
have
Damn.
we have 900 bottles of a cherry aged Creek. Bottle conditioning. We have roughly 400 bottles of a single barrel, and 392 of a single barrel age, unfruited, unblended saison. We have a couple. I'll give you guys a sample of it. Couple months aged in the Grundy, fresh peach. So that's a part of it, but that's an exercise in patience. So we've been doing that since the beginning.
Yeah.
I just love deep, balanced, rounded flavors.
Of course.
And I want layers. So like to me, something like this represents, the reason why we do all the adjuncts is because you can get them to hit you at different moments. You can have like a beginning, a middle, an end, and like a finish.
Sure.
If that makes sense.
Almost like a 7-layer dip.
Oh, yeah, you just give him an idea, man. Yeah, sour cream and guacamole.
Taco salad sour.
Yeah.
We could name the beer, do you like guacamole?
That's right.
A joke works the same way too, where you start with the essence of something that works, and then over the course of time, whether it's days, months, or even a year or two, like you find new ways to make it funny, and then the next thing you know, something that was 30 seconds long is now 4 minutes long, and you've got punchlines like every 20 to 30 seconds because you figured out ways to layer it and make it a complete thing instead of just like this kind of quick hit punch, like, yeah, okay, that's pretty good, on to the next thing. So when you guys are brewing, how much of it is what you guys want to make versus what people are just asking for?
I think it's all what we want to make. And Chris could probably speak to this better because he's the one who does a lot of the recipe development, and he's definitely the ideas guy.
Yeah.
And my role is more, execution and try to fulfill his vision. But yeah, I think yeah, for the most part, it's you know, there's definitely like, you know, we want to do obviously what's going to sell and like what's popular, but I don't think that like pigeonholes us down to, you know, it's like, oh, we're just kind of like selling out and doing, you know, marshmallow beer because that's what the people want. Like, I think, you know, it's a nice balance between you know, we have this idea, this concept, and you know, we know it's going to be a banger, and people are going to love it.
Yeah, I mean, most of what I know about you guys is the fruited sours and the IPAs. That's kind of
Yeah,
your claim to fame. So the fact that you guys have such an extensive barrel aging program is like not only impressive but surprising. I just didn't. I don't hear about it much.
We haven't released anything yet. We're hoping you know, that it's going to be well received, and that will be a you know, a third claim to fame.
I mean, how long has everything been in the barrels then? Like a year and a half?
Yeah,
About?
just about.
Nice.
July 19th?
Yeah, July
Yeah.
19th. Yeah.
So
And
it's,
then,
it's not quite there yet, but you're starting to get there.
Having Evan on board, he's got a lot of experience with darker beer styles, working at Left Hand.
Mm-hmm.
So we're really excited to pick his brain and just, you know, get his expertise on you know, developing some you know, kind of like dessert forward imperial stouts, and you know, see what we can do with that.
Yeah, because pastry stouts are another one that's like those have taken off. You know,
For sure, yeah.
They do really well. I mean, just with some of the breweries that we worked with in the past, like Wealthworks and New Image and Peculiar and stuff, I think that's becoming another thing where fruited sours, hazy IPAs, and pastry stouts have been huge. Have you guys done a pastry sour yet, where you do like more of a pie or a pie sour? For sure.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I'm thinking.
Yeah, you're about to taste one actually.
Oh, really?
Well,
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Thanks for coming up, guys.
Yeah. Ching ching.
Bit stretch.
You can do it.
Again, I felt on my back, so.
Doctor said I need a bacchiotomy.
Talk about a segue, though, huh?
Yeah.
Ooh, that's good. Yeah.
Well, one of the things I was going to add too, we're you know, we try to focus too, and Chris can speak about this more. It's really his philosophy, but no extracts. Just trying to go natural ingredients, 100%, and figure out how to add it in a way to really maximize flavor, but really against the extract.
Yeah.
For sure.
That's got to be a huge texture thing too, right? Like if you're just adding a flavoring agent to a fermentation tank, like
definitely
that
agree,
doesn't
but
do much to texture, right?
I would say against.
Yeah, I mean, that might be strong words.
Isn't quite the word. I mean,
Would prefer.
so for example, you mentioned pastry stouts and fruited sours. So I try a lot of these beers, and I think there's a lot that I actually enjoy flavor-wise. But what I wanted to avoid with this one is like 30% more fruit than our Goos.
And what's the name of this guy?
Purple Paste.
Purple Paste.
This is that beer we're going to feature.
Yeah, cool.
This just came out this weekend. The third highest rated beer in the whole country on Untapped last week.
Whoa! Congratulations, dude.
For draft. So it was extremely well received, and we're extremely humbled and honored about that. It's similar to the Goo. You can see it's a different texture. This is our first beer with marshmallows. So like he said, no extracts. You know, we're not using marshmallow extract. There are no natural marshmallows. Actually, our local co-op does sell marshmallow root.
Evan, that's your first mission as the new guy.
You guys don't have a marshmallow forager up here?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
But with
There's
this,
one town where I see marshmallows growing on trees. It's Netherlands.
I want what you have if you're seeing those trees up here.
Yeah, share some of your fridge DMT for that marshmallow.
This guy says he doesn't know what drugs are.
But you know, a lot of these fruited sours, you'll drink them and it's just pulp.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pulp, and it's really unfermented fruit. Certainly nothing against that method of production if that's what you want to do.
I'm against it, so I'll say that. Go ahead.
I have friends who do it, and I'm not for making beer in that way.
Sure.
So for this, like the majority of the fruit is fermented, and I think what that gets is one a more discernible alcohol content, and just a rich, deep, like the acidity is present. It's not just pulp, and it's still a very intense sensory experience. So
What's
that's
the ABV on it?
9%.
Yeah, that's a big guy.
Oh yeah.
But all that extra ABV is coming from the fruit, right? Like all that extra alcohol.
This one actually has a higher grain bill. This is not a Goo. This is
Okay.
an entirely new series. The first one in this series.
Right.
It's paste. So I was like, what is thicker than Goo? Oh, paste.
I mean, how many problems have you guys had, if any, where because you're canning now, you have stuff available in 16-ounce cans where stuff blows up on you or blows up on a customer?
Well, yeah, we haven't had any issues. Knock on wood so far.
I don't.
You know that your skull's not made out of wood.
Yeah.
You went to your head.
There's a wood table right in front of me.
Why didn't punch himself in the dick? That makes
Oh,
sense.
that was next. Yeah.
Also, just
Yeah,
say
I'm rock hard right now. Talking about this. Yeah.
talking about this.
Talking about
unfold
fruited
a
sours
little
makes
more.
me hot.
Right,
Let's
we're
go.
Yeah, we haven't had any issues. I mean, this is probably the highest amount of unfermentable fruit that we've added to a beer. But we have good cellar techniques and
It's around 10%, as opposed to like 49.
right.
Of
Unfermented
Yeah,
fruit.
where it doesn't become beer anymore. Yeah, we have good cellar techniques and stuff that kind of and encouraging people to drink fresh, keep it cold. We don't want any of those fruit IEDs out there.
These cans could not explode. I mean, there's no way that there's enough residual yeast and everything.
They said that about the Titanic once.
It didn't explode. To be fair.
Iceberg dead ahead.
Well,
Yeah.
so what caused? I mean, we can nerd out a little bit on this, just because I'm curious. Because I just there are certain breweries across the country that I don't appreciate because it seems like they're just trying to capitalize on a fad and they're just selling overpriced fruit juice essentially. And I feel like there's less quality that's actually going into the brewing process. And you hear about cans exploding and people overpaying for stuff that the alcohol content winds up being 4 when they advertise it being 10 or whatever. the hell. So, like,
450 Nor.
Bless you. Yeah.
Yeah, 450. Fuck those guys. Anyway, I said it. You didn't. So so what happens there? Like, so what happens with the beer itself where you wind up with cans blowing up or the ABV is just like wildly off or whatever?
Well, I mean, that's what it is. It's you'll make a base beer, or in some cases, not 450 North. I mean, they actually make their own beer. There are other breweries who buy massive amounts of kegs of beer from another brewery,
Okay.
and they just add fruit to it.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah.
So they just like take it, like they just
take it-
transfer it out of the kegs into the tank, and then just not ferment it essentially. I don't know if they're adding any extra.
They'll
yeast
add
or
fruit to the
whatever.
tank, and they'll recircuit in a way that makes it, blended and homogeneous and all that. But yeah, I mean, there are places that do that. I mean, I think there's an intensity of flavor just from raw fruit that you do get as opposed to this. But what I think this gives you is depth. It actually makes you think like a little bit. Like, I'll admit, sometimes I get off work and I drink old style because I don't want to think.
Right.
Yeah.
I want to mow the lawn.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But like with this, I
Is
mean,
that- not to like change the subject, but I do want to follow up on old style.
it's my favorite cheap beer, by the way.
That's
It's
that
the
was-
best
that
cheap
was the
beer.
question. Great.
It's
Yeah.
the best cheap
I
beer.
like extra gold.
In my opinion.
The little round table, everybody's worst favorite. Second.
Favorite
Sorry to
shape.
finish your thought.
No, I mean, just to me, this has a beginning, a middle, an end, and a finish and beyond.
There's a character arc here.
Yeah.
There's a mouthfeel, and there is a thickness. I mean, we're trying to achieve that thickness that those beers, people are like, oh, it's thick, and they fucking say 2 C's or some shit. We're allowed to curse, right?
Okay.
He
Yeah,
said
yeah.
fuck earlier. Yeah. I was like,
No,
sweet,
like,
I got permission.
oh, she thick. Oh, whatever. Thick boy. Thick boy with an I. And I'm like, all right. I don't know what the hell you're talking about. But, like, it represents mouthfeel. It represents the ability to coat your tongue and kind of, like, have this, like, pillow-like quality on the end.
Yeah.
Which is what I'm after. I'm after that in IPAs. I'm after that in sours. You know, and even a little bit with a lager. Like, I want it to be crisp, but then be soft. So, I mean, all this is water chemistry. All this is layering, how you add these ingredients, at what temperature, and there's a lot that goes into it. I think if you're making a beer with intentions, it'll show. And if you're making a beer to just be as outlandish as possible, I mean, it very well may work for you as a brewery. I think in most cases it won't, but you know, like you said, it's a fad. I mean, to me, I love this flavor profile, and that's why I make this. I was the first brewer in Colorado to brew hazy IPAs, right along the lines with Brandon from Primitive, who was at Out 13 at the time.
Yeah.
Eric, who's opening up Cohesion, which should open next spring, which is a Czech lager brewery. He was the production brewer at Out 13 at the time. Weldworks, Juicy Bits, Wiley Roots wasn't too far behind. A couple other places came in. But I mean, like, the idea, you know, again, like, you'll have a lot of people making hazy IPAs because of the looks. Where the most important thing that I was after, because I was drinking all these Vermont beers when they were just coming out,
Yeah, sure.
and they were blowing my mind.
Where were you getting them? Did you used to live in
I went to
Northeast,
Hill
or-
Farm. I lived in Vermont for about a decade.
Oh, okay, cool. I
Hill-
used to live in Saratoga Springs, New York, so I was right there.
We could probably talk after this about maybe mutual friends.
I'm sure, yeah.
Or the natural nitrous well from the fucking SPAC.
I think I bought a balloon off you at SPAC 5 years ago.
No, that was the little person who runs the mafia with a knife.
No, it was Chris.
No, but I mean, I was drinking Hill Farmstead 3 weeks after they opened
Yeah.
in 2010, I think. Heady Topper before the brewery washed away.
Sure.
And what it is it represents certain hop compounds, oils, polyphenols, all these things just in suspension as opposed to being dropped out.
Mm-hmm.
Where if it's a clear beer, you can still get a very rich hop profile. Cannonball Creek, Pliny, you know, Westbound and Down. They make incredible, clear, California-inspired IPAs.
Yeah, totally.
But you're losing, no matter what, you're going to lose a little bit because it's being dropped out. So if you're able to process it, getting the yeast out, getting all that stuff in a cohesive manner, I mean, it is the most direct hop experience you could get. That's why we say unfiltered as opposed to New England.
Yeah, okay. No, that makes sense. One of my favorite qualities about beer really is texture, and I feel like it's something that gets overlooked a ton. Like getting that cloud-like pillow aspect of a beer is so hard to achieve, but really to me makes it a next level differentiator between everything else that's out there. So, I mean, is that with this beer in particular? Is the marshmallow that's adding to that? Is it the water compound? I know you said it's a couple different things. but
It's
what's-
everything.
Yeah. Okay.
I think we try to pay attention to our water a lot here.
Yeah, it's where do you guys get like any water shipped in from El Dorado? I know that's a big thing here.
I just say the town of Nederland.
Make that water a little shorter.
And one of the cool things about having Evan on board was he brought in a water testing kit and just ran kind of like the specs and like the mineral content on our water, and we have pretty soft water.
Evan did that?
Yeah, Evan did
They
that.
don't tell me anything.
Yeah, Evan won the jug. Can't he wanted in the water?
And so, well, in addition to just Netherlands town water, I mean, and we're like it's all downstream from here. Like we get the primo water.
Yeah,
And and then also just our carbon filtration. Like we've got really soft water to work with, and then we kind of build up our water profile from there. And I think that contributes a lot to our to the character of the beer and the mouthfeel.
Yeah. Speaking of having the natural resources of Netherlands, how long have y'all lived up here?
Go ahead, Chris.
I moved up here and really started the planning on this brewery in April 17.
Okay. And before that, were you in Vermont or?
I was in Denver.
Oh, you were in Denver. Okay.
Yeah, I was the head brewer for Joyride Brewing Company.
Got it.
Oh, okay.
So I left there in December of 2016, and I had already been thinking about making a move to the mountains.
Sure.
Because I lived in a small town in Vermont.
Mm-hmm. Which town?
I went to Green Mountain College.
Yeah.
So I was outside of Rutland and Pulteney, which is right across the river from Whitehall.
Yeah, okay, I think I went to the strip club in Whitehall that was in the back of a bowling alley.
I've been there, yeah.
That's why the bag was sold,
That
right?
place was
That's a
great.
good
It was
one.
like a family bowling alley out front, and then you walk through the double doors past all the lanes, and there's like a full operational strip club right in the back. Yeah, and
All the strippers were tweakers for sure.
yeah, but it was a fun company
It was
outing
fun.
when I was at Harpoon. So we would show up after we would work a fest at the Vermont Brewery or whatever, like barbecue champs or whatever. And we'd all go there. It'd be like 20 salespeople. They'd bring in cases like just for us, and DJ would be like, "Let's give it up for the Harpoon guys," and everyone would go, "Yeah!" Talent wasn't necessarily important. It was just a good time to hang out. Jordan, how long? So you've been up here for how long?
Maybe 2 years.
Okay.
Not too long. I was living down in Boulder before. I was working for Upslope Brewing Company, and I moved up here. Just had a cool living opportunity, so I moved up to the mountains, and I was commuting down to Boulder to work at Upslope. I was a shift brewer for them for 2 years, and just working night shifts and stuff. And I think for any brewer out there who's listening who works night shifts, you can only do it for so long.
Yeah.
Brutal.
It can be brutal. I mean, it's really just a testament to how much do you love brewing beer when it's the end of December and it's 3 a.m. and you're on your 4th week of night shifts and you're just like, did I really decide to do this for a living?
Well, especially
Yeah,
on that
brutal.
scale as well.
Yeah.
It's a bigger scale,
Yeah.
so you're not really you're an integral part of the process, but you're not making a lot of the decisions.
Which
right?
there are some people who, in some weird way, thrive off.
Thrive for
Yeah,
sure.
sure.
I used to work for Anderson Valley, and there were.
There's creatures of the night.
Yeah, they love the
that
habit, the ritual
Yeah.
of it,
Yeah.
where they just do
He had
the same
kids. He
thing,
would come
like, all the
in.
time.
He'd leave in the afternoon, spend the day with his kids. But like for most people, and I would say especially for these two, and I think this is why this team kind of naturally assembled. Like they're more about the creative aspect of beer and just brewing beer on a more artistic level rather than a commercial level.
For sure.
Yeah.
The-
All right.
Though I think that there's some merits to being a shift brewer, and I mean you get hundreds of turns in the brew house, and
I got 2 of them right here.
Yeah. And you're just going through the repetitions, and you get so comfortable with the process of making beer. And so I appreciate the time and the opportunity I had with Upslope. There came a point where I was just ready for a change, and it kind of, the stars and planets all aligned, and Chris was opening up this place, and I shot him an email and was like, "Yo, what's up? You need some help?" And he emailed me back and was like, "Yeah, dude, perfect timing." And we hit it off. We had it's probably the best job interview I've ever had.
Just talking about Phish the whole time.
Talking about DMT the whole time.
Join on the table.
We had a great time. We drank a lot of beer. We had a lot of fancy cheese. We had a great. It was a really fun job interview.
Yeah, sounds brutal.
Yeah. I really got grilled, man.
So, what's your greatest weakness? Oh, could you pass the brie?
That's right.
Well, to me, in terms of hiring like this too, like I will admit I'm not like your run-of-the-mill boss, and I don't even like in some cases like to be thought of as a boss, So like I don't know,
A co-creator, if you will.
well, this is my vision, but like there are elements that like I cannot bring to the table. So,
Yeah.
for example, we mentioned my business partner Chris Klein, like he does all the important financial transactions because I'm not trusted.
Sure.
I have the freedom and I have a budget to order what I need, keep things moving. But like, he's the one who does that because that's how his brain works. He's very good at that. He keeps things going. Like Jordan has been here since the beginning and has maintained our production schedules, make sure the tanks, the only beer we've had to dump was because I added far too much salt. And it tasted like a salty bomb. We've never had an infection, or but like, I don't know, like we really care about our processes. I think we also care about each other, and I think we care about this place. So I mean, it's if we treat the people right and we can kind of like all come together to create this thing that's bigger than ourselves individually, then nobody's going to leave.
How many cult members do you have so far?
It's turning into
Just check on tap. We have thousands of cult members.
We're changing the name of the brewery to Nexium. Nexium Brewing Company.
Did you know that Frozen Dead Guy Days is actually about you and I?
This just turns into a Wicker Man party. Yeah, so actually that's one thing I did want to talk to you guys about. Tell us a little bit, for those people that don't know or aren't aware, tell us a little bit about Dead Guy Days as much as you guys know it, and then what do you guys do anything for it? Do you make a beer for it or anything like that?
Chris can speak better to this. Unfortunately, I have not been able to experience a Dead Guy Day.
They couldn't do it this year.
Hopefully.
Because of COVID.
Yeah, well, they couldn't do it. Yeah, they couldn't do it in 2020 because of COVID, and then hopefully, things.
19.
Or I guess
COVID
I guess it was this year. It was,
2020.
last March. I'm bummed out because I've lived up here and I've missed it every year, and then this year I was stoked to be a part of it, and we did brew a beer for it that Chris will talk about.
Is it an ice bar?
I've been wanting to do that so bad, and I just talked to Evan about it, and he told me
Ice
that
box it's too much work.
well, no, it's apparently it's illegal to do freeze distillation.
What? Of
Yeah.
all the things that are legally allowed in this state,
Right,
these
right.
installations where they
I
drew
know,
the line.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, Evan wants to deal with that.
I think you
Yeah.
can call it a spirit, though. Like, you can, as a distillery.
Well, I don't think we have the license for it.
Yeah,
We'd have to
that's
talk
gonna
to
be
like Gold Dirt or something.
Yeah, I was working with a guy that's formerly at the American Homebrewers Association, and we were debating the merits of Ice Bock. How delicious it is.
Or the
It's,
demerits, because if you're drinking ice bock, it's going to get fucking rowdy.
Who's the
Yeah.
big brewery in Europe that does that? Brewdog?
That makes the ice bock?
Do they do an ice box?
Well,
I
they're
wouldn't
like
doubt it.
48%.
Oh, they make that one that's like
ice box.
It's like wrapped in a squirrel, right?
Yeah. Asher, you hear that squirrel?
coming for you.
You used to work for Sierra Nevada?
Yeah.
So I always do this every year. I freeze a bottle of Bigfoot barley wine,
Okay.
and just like drink the runnings. Delicious.
Really? It's just like
Oh
what,
my
straight
God.
syrup or
It's
what?
just like bitter, and I do it like as soon as Bigfoot comes out, like every January. I
Just
freeze a
fresh,
bottle,
yeah.
and it's just like hoppy, like bitter, just intense barley hop juice.
Yeah,
and
that's awesome.
It's so
It's
good.
just a super concentrated.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, but I love it. I
Yeah.
did it by accident the first time. I had a bottle, like that like spot in the back of your shitty refrigerator that always freezes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I put a bottle back there and made an accidental ice block with Bigfoot barley wine.
So that's how the best things happen, right? Is by
Yeah, that's
accident,
right.
Like
Yeah.
a lot of time.
Bob Ross's happy little accidents.
Yeah, Jordan wound up freezing a bottle of Bigfoot in his freezer and it exploded. And now he's licking the inside
Yeah,
of his
that's right.
freezer.
So good.
Like a bowl of batter. Like when mom was making cookies.
That's right.
So, Chris, can you tell us more about, again, for people that might not know, because I don't even really know that much about it, like what the deal is with Dead Guy Days?
Yeah.
Not to make you the town
Sorry.
historian.
I
I
forget
you
his,
said he was going to be able to like tell you a little bit more about
He's
it.
been here
anyway,
longer
so,
than me.
Yeah.
I forget his name, and I've been hanging out in Netherlands since 2007, so I've been to a bunch of Dead Guy Days. You good? You good?
Yeah, just checking.
Yeah, so this past year was obviously unprecedented in many ways, but last year was the first year that Netherlands didn't have Nedfest, which was a musical fest that happened down in the fairgrounds, where they would also do Frozen Dead Guy stuff. So like for us as a new brewery opening up, it was a little strange to like not have the traffic and the revenue of like
The tourists coming up here from Boulder.
these
and
two
stuff.
major, all over the place, people
Sure,
would come to
yeah,
this
yeah.
music festival.
Yeah.
And they get world-class musicians. And Frozen Dead Guy Days would
Little
bring...
Wayne? Like, who would they have?
Probably
on
big in like the mountain folk and like bluegrass.
They'd have
community,
people
right?
from Yonder Mountain String Band, the
Okay.
String Cheese Incident,
Yes, okay.
Great joke, Steve.
the drummer.
Lil Wayne was great. The listeners like
I would be stoked on Lil Wayne. I don't know how much the rest of the town would be stoked on Lil Wayne. But, the drummer of the Grateful Dead's been up here, David Grisman, who's a world-renowned mandolinist, and all these people in that kind of instrumental jam scene.
I think it's Mandalorian. if I'm pronouncing it correctly.
Right, the new one. Yeah.
You can say great joke, Corey, if you
Yeah,
want.
if you want.
Great joke, Corey, if you want. But yeah, I mean, 22,000 was the last full scale.
In this town.
Frozen Dead Guy days. I mean, there's cars parked all the way up here by the brewery. They were using this lot just because it was here, like before we were open, and like all the way down the road and just everywhere.
Because it's all based on this woman that like her husband died, right? And then she's had him in a freezer for how long?
Well, this guy, he died, and it was in his will. I think he was Norwegian,
Yeah, some Scandinavian.
guy.
It's already more metal than more.
He had he had in his will that he was going to be cryogenically frozen. So when he died, he was cryogenically frozen. And his family shipped him over here because they were living here. Or he was living here and he just ended up here. I don't know the exact details on where he was cryogenically frozen. But he sits in a cooler of cryogenic liquid nitrogen.
And chicken fingers.
So he's sitting there, and it is one guy's full-time job to make sure that he remains frozen at a certain temperature through this liquid nitrogen process. And he's there. He's in a shed up on the hill. Still, yeah.
That's what they said.
They used to parade him around town.
And
I've heard, not like out, but like they would parade his shed or something. And they stopped doing that. I've heard rumors that his body is not looking too good.
Yeah.
In terms
global
of
warming,
freezer burn, global warming, whatever it may be. But I mean, Frozen Dead Guy is essentially just one of the quirkiest, weirdest festivals you've been to that celebrates this random dead guy in a shed who's been on ice for close to 30 years.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's very unique to our town, and people come from all over the world to come to it. So I mean, yeah, we can't wait for it to come back.
Yeah, of course.
The first beer we brewed for it, and we brewed it before like the shutdown. So we had labels, all this. It was a picture of Dr. Evil, but we encapsulated him in ice, and he's going like this.
Nice.
And the name of the beer was $1 million. And we used all cryogenic hops.
Oh, that's fun.
Whoa,
So
that's
it was-
cool. Yeah.
It was our first exploration in cryogenic hop usage.
Yeah.
And
And human ashes fermented for texture.
So real human ashes.
if you know the right people, you can still check out the shed, is what I heard.
Yeah, it's part
Okay,
of that water
let's-
chemistry is
we
the
gotta-
human ashes.
We gotta come hang out up here a little bit more often then to get to know.
Yeah.
Skinny, so to speak. So what's the deal with the cryo hops then? Like that's something I don't think a lot of people know that much about.
Cryo hops are a byproduct of just regular hop pellets, which is how they process hops. It kind of looks like rabbit food.
Sure.
And essentially, I'm not sure if they do it as a powder before it's pelletized, but they use, I believe, CO2 or nitrogen, some kind of cold gas extraction,
Nice. This is fast and
to
furious
kind of
style.
like emphasize certain oils and beta acids that are more contributed to aromatics and aroma and flavor than bitterness.
Okay.
So like alpha acids are your bitter acids. The oils, linalool, carophyllene, myrcene are three of the big ones. All those hop oils and beta acids contribute more to flavor and aroma.
Yeah, flavor and aroma.
So
Okay.
it's essentially a concentrated. If you can think about it's not a dab, it's not an oil, but like if you can think about like random cannabis products that are more concentrated on oils and things like that, it's kind of similar, just a different medium for hops.
Yeah.
Makes
Where-
sense. There's less green matter, so we get better yields too. That's kind of like a byproduct. So it's a really cool hop product to play with, just on on the brewing side, and then also it is more expensive to brew with that product, but we get increased yields and I think increased flavor and just like depth of character.
Are you guys using that in a lot of your beers now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, oftentimes blend.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll use pellets and that. And what that'll do is there are a lot of the more specialty varieties they're not making into cryo. Or Lupomax is another new one, which is essentially another company's version of cryo. But I mean, what you're getting is just more concentrated oils. So, I mean, like Other Half is a brewery that has kind of pioneered this method of like blending full-scale hop usage with that layered on top.
Yeah.
So you get kind of the same mediocre yields, but you're able to fit a lot more hop product into it.
Sure.
If that makes sense.
Another component of it too is so they remove about half of the leaf material, so there's actually less polyphenols in suspension with those hops, and that it kind of, you can put more hop aroma and flavor in there without having that kind of tannic component to it. That
Grassy.
Yeah.
that grassy, mouth puckering kind of acid bitterness. Basically, you can kind of still get more aroma and punch without the
Cram more hops.
Yeah, because what's the benefit? I know there's a benefit to using whole cone as opposed to pellets. Like Sierra predominantly they only use whole cone for stuff, and they take like a lot of pride in that.
Yeah.
So with
There's not though. I mean,
you don't think so?
no.
Okay.
I mean,
they preach that.
It's
for
more of a
pretty hard,
romantic thing. In terms of actual hop usage and flavor and yield, it's
You
probably.
think pellets are just as good?
I think they're better.
Okay.
It's just more concentrated. What are you after? Are you after these oils or plant matter?
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't work.
I didn't mean to, like,
I don't give a shit. I don't work.
Negate. I'm just saying, like, it is a romantic thing to use whole cone hops.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I might agree with Chris on that. I think that some of the new hop products coming out that definitely yield a superior product. Though there is something just romantic and traditional about using whole cone hops and
Well, hops are romantic in general.
yeah, and,
I love
and,
walking.
and props
through
to
hop field.
props to Sierra Nevada, and I know Victory Brewing Company uses whole cone hops as well. I don't know if they still do, but I know that they used
Prima
to.
Pills is all whole cone.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
And
the first craft beer I ever had.
It's so
Yeah.
good.
Oh,
It's
and
still
I-
one of the best American pilsners out there.
And I, much applause to Sierra Nevada. Not just because I'm repping all their shit
You're
right now.
literally your fan
I'm
Sierra
Nevada. But yeah, I think every pint of craft beer in America is a tribute to Sierra Nevada Pale Ale, and
Yeah.
I think like anybody who's brewing anything today in the craft beer scene just has to remember that. So that's all.
Yeah. Well, speaking, I know you love pale ale and you love a lot of the stuff that Sierra does, but we talked about some shitty beers that, those shitty quote unquote, light lager style beers that people enjoy.
Like
Chris,
old
you're
style.
old style man.
Old style, baby, go Bills.
Yeah, dude. All right, so I went to UB as well. So I've lived in Buffalo for like 5 years. So definitely
Bills.
heard of the Bills. Fucking yeah.
I have Josh Allen on my fantasy team, so
Everybody's got
Cool.
Josh Allen on their
He's killing
fantasy
it.
team.
Evan and Jordan, what are your favorite cheap beers?
cheap beer that I can't get here. Unfortunately, I'm in love with August Brewery in Minnesota, New Ulm, Minnesota. They don't distribute here, but they have a contract brand called Grain Belt, and it is kick-ass. It's really solid. It's not all malt, but it's a really crushable light lager.
Was that like when you were 18, started drinking those, or what?
Those are I've had to I've had to wheel and deal in the beer trade sphere to get August
Like
Brewery.
to get now?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
when people think of the trade market, it's not usually that.
yeah, you
Yeah.
want some rolling? I'll get you some Rolling Rock. Right?
I do.
Don't knock the Rolling Rock. That's my
Oh my
It's
god,
like,
like a drug man.
Banquet though, Coors Banquet. It's local. It's got a pretty high percentage of grain, so
Have you ever had Extra Gold?
extra gold.
It's like the level down from
Yeah.
like Banquet or Coors Light.
Or level
Like,
up, depending on how you feel about it.
Oh, I mean, the price point is definitely leveled up. The quality, not as much, but it's extra. I'm an Extra Gold guy. That's my go-to for like cheap, shitty beers for sure. I love it.
Nice.
Jordan, what's your go-to?
I was gonna. You guys stole my answers. Rolling Rock Extra Pale Ale.
No, really? It was
Oh, yeah.
Rolling Rock?
Oh yeah. That's like a it's got that classic shitty green bottle. It's just like a camping beer. It's great. And then Coors Banquet because it's local up here.
Yeah. And you guys both brew with the same water, so.
That's right.
Rocky
That's right.
Mountain-
Now
Rocky Mountain
they're,
Phish.
they're downstream from us. We got
They
better
brew with
water.
our water.
They brew with our water.
They brew with our wastewater. Yeah.
That's right.
That's
Hell
fire.
yeah.
We had, I grew to love Rolling Rock in college because there was a bar down the street from my house that once a year they would have a day where they gave away a card for one free Rolling Rock every day for a year for the first 100 customers that showed up there. So, broke college kid, literally every day on my way home from my internship that summer, I would have a Rolling Rock.
Hell
At the
yeah.
end of the fucking day. Yeah. It was
Wild.
awesome.
And
It was fun. I don't know.
I made my hipster mainstream joke earlier, but PBR is also classic. You can't go wrong.
And he's the sacrifice this year.
That's right.
Yeah. Hey, you want to get into some? We've talked up these guys enough. Do you want to knock them down a notch?
let's let them learn a lesson here.
For what it's worth, though, we had a lot of trouble finding any bad reviews for you guys. You're very well received, and you even said something about that when you guys had to shut down the tap room a little bit. I'd love to hear you just actually say something really quick about, like, you guys have been affected by a lot this year. You know, not only just COVID, but the forest fires up here, and your to-go business, you said, kicked ass and rocked. Like, anything you want to say about that?
Well, I mean, the fact that we're doing rotating cans, the fact that we are bringing something, I would say, new and fresh, exciting each week, people responded to it. I mean,
Yeah.
we're going to go for a drive, you know. I mean, at the same time, the last time they did the shutdown was late spring into summer. So now we're moving into winter.
Yeah.
I think we'll be okay.
Yeah.
I'm confident we will be, with some sort of outdoor opening, you know, like, but really it's all up in the air for most breweries.
Well, you can only take it day by day, but I brought that up mostly because you had said that you had a booming success with the to-go stuff when that was the only thing that was available, and to me that speaks volumes not only about the quality but just the people and how you guys are received in the community before shit went down.
Absolutely.
Like, it wasn't like all of a sudden you guys were dead and then the shutdown happened and you got really busy, right? It's like, no, people love this place, and you can see that in the reviews.
We have a lot of locals too.
Yeah.
Like, you know, bringing something new to Nederland is not easy. Nederland's there's a reason why there's no McDonald's up here.
Right. People have been here for decades and decades.
Decades and decades, and there's really nothing corporate. The most corporate thing here is an Ace, and Ace is also a franchise company, so it's locally owned.
Sure.
It's the health hardware store.
Like, we have like a major bank, but they're not major. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Like, we have like a grocery store, but they're locally owned. It's just the spirit of Nederland. I mean, it's this weird beatnik town, and it's always brought those kind of people here, and they've fought hard to keep those sorts of
Yeah.
serious corporate entities out of here.
Well, that's the charm of it too. That's a lot of the charm of Netherlands.
Yeah, this
Absolutely.
place has the weirdest, like the best and the strangest mountain hippie vibe of like any of the small ski towns, if you will, quote unquote. Yeah. It's not overdeveloped at all. Speaking
Even
to that.
Eldora is like its own like unique little resort too. Like,
Yeah. But
it's-
you get this
They've been
strange
purchased
breed of mountain
recently,
hippie up here. That's
and,
really
and
great.
there are changes. They were purchased by the same people who own Copper and Killington and this, and they've made awesome advancements.
Cool.
They've invested a lot of money into a high-speed lift, all this. I mean, the other side of that is some increased traffic on the weekends.
Of course.
I mean,
But that'll help you guys out.
it'll help us out. I mean, ultimately it helps all the businesses out around
Yeah.
here.
Especially
I mean-
the Ace hardware.
You know, really, we support this
those
hardware
corporate,
a lot.
those corporate
Have to
fat
say
cats over at Ace Hardware.
Yeah, we definitely support Ace Hardware.
Before
Well,
we got our own, that's where I bought all my Dots pretzels. They're great pretzels if you haven't had them. But yeah, I mean, I will say we're just extremely humbled on the support and the fact that these people are coming out and buying our cans and trading it and mailing it across the country, and you know, it means the world. It's a dream come
Yeah.
true on that front. I think we're in a time right now where we have to work hard to stay true to the vision, keep it going, and find some cans. If anybody out there is listening has like a half a truckload full of cans they want to give to us
There's a little bit shortage
in
going
exchange
on,
for free beer, hey, we got you on stuff. But
Yeah, and we can get into that if you want to, but I know we're already kind of running long. We want to get to the review stuff, but yeah, I know you guys.
no, it's good for
Cans
the
are-
stuff.
yeah.
To be fair, when we got here, Chris was having a conversation about how to get cans and all sorts of stuff, and it just seems like every brewery's probably having to deal with that right now.
Yeah, everybody's facing kind of the same struggles,
Yeah.
especially with tap rooms closing, right? Like, you got to figure out different ways to get the beer out of tanks and into people's hands, and if cans aren't readily available, then you got to come up with creative solutions to how to get them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, if the tap room's open again, I think a lot of these places that were really tap room focused will stop distributing the way they were.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
So that might open up some of the stuff, but for the time being, it's a little bit of a scramble.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's talk about.
How much you guys suck? Corey, why don't you go first on this one?
Yeah, that's fine. We can do that. All right, so this is an Untapped review for Blue Light Rain, which I'm hoping is a Labatt Blue reference. Yes, no, maybe so.
It's a Grateful Dead reference, but it has the word light in it. And It's
Yeah.
right in the middle. So that's why I did it. Blue Light Rain.
I was just optimistically thinking it was a Blue Light deal. It's my favorite crappy beer, if you will. All right, so do me a favor, and this actually isn't even a bad rating. I actually just thought that it was fun to see where this guy's night turned out. So go ahead, read the rating, and then what it says.
Second drink, 1/5 of the way sloshed.
1/5. Just 1/5. This guy has his drunkenness so well calibrated that he knows exactly how many it's
I
going to
believe
take to
that's
slosh.
that's the equivalent of blowing a .20.
Then you got Randy L commenting on his Untapped. Slosh it, baby.
Flush it, baby.
The rating was a 4.25. Not a bad rating. No, it wasn't bad.
take
That's a
that.
good rating. Yeah. Well, how many beers does it usually take for you guys to slosh it up?
About 1/5. 1/5 of a beer.
I have one review tonight. Most of your reviews are glowing. There's not a ton of reviews out there, but this one I had to pick because it is a saga. We have an original post, a response from the owner, and then a response back from the original post.
So not give us the footnotes as best you can.
Shut up, Corey.
Well, because these guys know which one we're talking about, and I
I
don't
don't.
talk about
I-
that.
I don't-
more.
I don't
Oh, you
think-
will as soon as we talk about
I mean,
it.
I'm sure
Yeah,
the
yeah.
listeners don't want to hear the whole review either. Amy E, 1 star. Amy E says 1 star. And this is, I'll start with the original post. Liars! We visited recently and ordered a total of 4 16-ounce beers. All 4 beers were served with the same kind of glass. Didn't seem like 16 ounces, so we asked the bartender if we could purchase one of the glasses. He said sure and take it $8 cash for it. We took it home and measured it, filled it with water. The result, 13 ounces.
We took it home and measured
This place is lying to its customer.
First of all, do you guys want to defend your honor at this point, or do you want to wait for the review to be over?
Well, just wait for my response.
In addition to this argument, we also have another deception. There is a self-serve water
The
station,
plot thickens.
an empty El Dorado Springs in parentheses Colorado 5-gallon water jug stood upside down in a crockery base. But the water in its base wasn't El Dorado Springs, which is a lovely springs water that we've had many times elsewhere. It was chlorinated like Netherlands City water.
Boo.
So, Chris, this is how you responded. Hi, Amy. Thank you so much for checking out our spot. Your hilarious review really made our day here at Not en Route.
Great response.
Here's the link to the 16-ounce pint glasses we use. They're plenty standard in the industry. We've also tested the water, and lo and behold, it was 16 ounces. Just as advertised. Wow. We really do hope
Fuck
you
yeah.
come see us again. We love good reading material and elite Yelp reviewers. Hope you enjoy your Thanksgiving with your new 16-ounce Not en Route pint glass.
Yeah. And she left with a gift. Did she pay
She
for
left
it?
with the gift.
Did she pay for the pint
Yeah,
glass?
she said she paid $8
Oh, she got it.
for
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Karen got her 16-ounce pint glass for sure.
How do you want to respond to some of these accusations? I mean, that's quite the claim. 13 ounces?
I mean, we dug deep for a day, I think. So we like looked at her Yelp page. I think she like reviewed like some like random government agency as like 1 star.
Shit.
She reviewed like this coffee place in here as 1 star.
She's a tyrant.
She has all
She
these
just likes
1-star
to-
reviews. She just goes around. She's the most elite Yelp reviewer.
Is
Amy
Netherlands?
E. And lives a joyless life, clearly. She's only going to 1-star establishments.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. We went on a little thing. She's got some funny. Just if you have a little bit of time, I don't know, in the toilet or
Oh,
wherever
yeah,
you
there's
look at
some-
Yelp reviews, but
Big Bad Breakfast, 2 stars.
Well,
Elf
what's her
Grill,
name again?
2 stars. Amy E.
Amy E. on Yelp.
Yeah.
Go hunt her.
3 stars for the San Diego Museum of Art.
right, something like that.
The art was decent.
So in her defense, though, we did recognize that we have a water stand that is not actually El Dorado Springs water, and so we have since crossed out the El Dorado and said it's not El Dorado Springs.
We just wrote not.
Yeah,
Right,
no.
not-
Yeah, that's fair. That's
Yeah.
transparency.
Yeah.
You did, to be fair, you missed an opportunity to advertise yourselves by not spelling it Knot.
Ah,
You
yeah,
spell it
there you go.
N-O-T.
There you
You can
go.
always add it in later, you know.
We
That's,
can add the K.
yeah.
How do
Easy.
that?
Yeah, Amy. So we do have a follow-up from her saying, regarding the establishment's response, we have one of the 13-ounce glasses in which we serve 16-ounce beers. We are very happy to provide that glass to the Colorado Attorney General's office. Or
She's
to
going
any
to the
other
state.
entity.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
So
She's got him on speed dial, and he has her in his phone as do not answer.
yeah.
If you actually look at her reviews, so many of her responses to these other people who are like, I'm going to take it to the state. I'm going to take it to the
That's
state.
her just
Yeah.
go-to.
I'm going to take it to the state. And it's
Represented by Rudy Giuliani.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, absolutely.
I was just tucking in my shirt.
As he draws Sharpie on the side of his face, starts running down as soon as he
Sweating
sweats.
out Gatorade shit.
Right, this one is from Alicia B. for Nicely Rooted. Kind of on the
I'm
soapy
sorry,
side.
I have to interrupt you.
What?
She gave a Waffle House 4 stars. Waffle House 4
I
stars.
mean, Waffle House is
I don't blame her.
fucking
honestly.
Not in,
it's
not
a
in
solid-
Colorado.
It's a solid review.
Not
Yeah.
in Colorado. You got to go down south. I'll die on that hill. Colorado Waffle Houses suck.
Thank you, Steve. And rant.
And rant.
Nicely Rooted, 3.5 stars on Untapped. Kind of on the soapy side, but well balanced. So what I didn't understand was it an appropriate amount of soap
Yes.
that you put in there? I know
A
you guys
balance,
use
a well balanced.
all kinds of adjuncts. in
Yeah,
your
Irish
beers.
Spring.
Yeah,
actually.
what's your soap of
Yeah,
preference?
yeah.
If you're gonna have to put
Irish
bars,
Spring.
Yeah, Irish Spring and then Dial at Whirlpool.
Like, we bitter with Irish Spring
Yeah,
and
yeah,
Whirlpool we use the
definitely.
liquid because it gets more into the beer. Yeah.
yeah. What do you like when somebody does get like a soapy flavor in a beer? What does that usually even come from? Because I have heard that before, with like as being an off flavor. Are you guys familiar with that at all or no?
We do have a high magnesium content in our water up here, though. So
So
just
somebody
a little
that's-
bit of higher, like gives it a little bit of a chalkiness to it sometimes.
So for somebody that's just like chewing on bars of soap in their free time, they're just like, I know this taste.
I'm interested in Evan's magnesium theory.
Okay.
So you're gonna have to tell me that a little bit more
All right.
later. But I think like cilantro, there's some sort of genetic predisposition for having cilantro
Oh,
taste
yeah,
like
that's
soap.
right.
I think in some level there is something called a super taster, and in some cases these people who have these like really profound. It's not like one way or the other. Like for each person, it can be different. Like you can have a super taste in a certain compound, where certain oils that are prevalent in hops could produce a soapy-like content. So
Yeah.
it's very possible she just has some kind of strange taste buds that emphasize that kind of oil in that way.
It's like
Kind of like
a
cilantro for some people.
Yeah.
It's a good
like-
joke, Steve.
I just came back from the. It wasn't a joke.
Is that how we're supposed to respond?
Yeah,
Just,
yeah.
just
Do
like
that a lot.
how some people are like really divided with Simcoe hops. Like some people, it's got really great tropical notes and a lot of grapefruit character. And then some people are just like, yeah, it's a litter box. It's just cat pee.
Super tasters, like
so-
elite
Or it's kind of
helpers.
like cilantro.
Great joke, Chris. What did I miss? Oh no! What happened?
You said cilantro. That's what we were talking about.
Well, I
And
was
you were
in-
like,
I
oh,
was
you
in
mean
the
like?
ba- I was in the bathroom. I came back from the.
Well, that's the joke.
Ba-doom.
Oh,
So you didn't get it.
I quit comedy.
All right, we got one more, and this mostly has to do with the label that you guys made, and that the guy wasn't impressed with it. So here, Jordan, why don't you take this one? Just read the name of the beer, and then read the review.
All right, so this is Blue Light Rain. It's our unfiltered German Pilsner. We got a 2.5 star. So this beer label has David Hasselhoff on it.
Classic.
Classic Hoff. And this guy says something with the Hoff on it should taste better.
Ooh, shots fired.
That's shots fired, yeah.
Yeah, man. So wait a minute. Why did you guys disparage the Hoff this way? You didn't make a great beer with the Hoff on it?
He's very popular
I'll hand this
in
off to Chris. Yeah.
I thought the beer's great. I'd like to give it to the Hoff to see what he thinks.
Did you
Yeah.
mail him some?
The Hoff will be crying in his bathtub about how good this beer is.
You'll see him drinking it. He'll dunk a burger while he's laying on the floor
right.
drunk.
Now, why the Hoff on that beer? Is that also an homage to something else, like a Grateful Dead thing or a Phish thing?
Well, the name of the beer is Blue Eye Rain, which
Right.
is Grateful Dead, but
Yeah.
it's a German Pilsner, so Hasselhoff.
You just thought the Hoff would go on.
I don't know, like in that second, like I was just like, oh, why don't we just put David Hasselhoff? And we're like, cool, and then we did it.
Yeah, this is
So
what I'm
that's
talking
what
about
happened.
when I get in the morning and Chris has this idea for like, this is what we're doing. Like, I was like,
You're like, fine.
all right, man. Yeah,
Whatever.
let's do it. Let's do it.
Yeah.
And
Our
thought you
Flickering
was-
Lantern Porter has the Angry Beavers on
it
it.
does have the Angry Beavers on it. Yeah.
Our Summer
one of the
Leaves
best.
Hellas lager has Christopher Walken. There's I don't know.
And as much as I don't understand, I'll sometimes I work the bars on the weekend, and we have people come in and they're like, "Hey, I want that Hoff beer," and so it's like, "All right, here it is, man. Here it is."
I mean, for what it's worth, they got basically 4 stars on Untapped. So
Yeah,
you said
yeah.
you can't please everybody.
It's pretty good for a lager.
Yeah.
yeah.
Lagers, I mean, Beardstadt Slow Pour Pils is one of my favorite lagers in the state,
Yeah,
if
one of
not
the
the
best.
country. And I don't think it's much higher or maybe even lower than that one because it has a lot more reviews. I mean, people just generally do not review lagers super highly.
Yeah, I mean, they're just not very popular on rating sites, essentially.
But I mean, something with the hop should taste better.
We can do better.
We can do better.
We can all do better. Cool. Well, before we get out of here, is there anything you guys want to like promo or just announce before y'all take off?
Purple Paste is delicious.
Yeah, the beers
It's
are
so good.
fantastic. Like I should say that.
That just
Thank
came
you.
out. It's very, very good. So I'll go ahead and plug that for you guys. New release.
Well, it seems like we just had good conversation. We didn't necessarily do to get to featured beer, but Purple Paste is the first in our unfiltered Imperial Fruit Goza series. So keep an eye out for more of.
Tell me more about everything you just said. So, I mean, Imperial Goza, usually those two things don't go together. Those are typically lower ABV. So, are you actually adding salt to the
Yes.
beer to give it? Okay. This is the one you didn't oversalt by chance?
Not oversalt.
It's actually
Perfect amount. Yeah.
Yeah, rightly salted. So why Imperial Goza? Like, what is the salt contributing in there, and like why you even feel like you need to call it a Goza?
Well, in that sense, we're trying to, like the Goo. The Goo's a Berliner Weiss.
Yeah.
So like the whole reason like for us fruiting the Goo the way we did was kind of imagining the syrups in Germany.
Mm-hmm.
So the Reinholdsgebot, I didn't pronounce it as good as Dr. J over here.
He's
But,
nailed it.
they would make this base beer and then add these syrups because they couldn't make the beer with that.
Sure.
I think that's almost like, a little antiquated. So like maybe in Germany you can make this base Berliner Weiss, add a little fruit to it. It might taste better than that syrup, or provide a little bit more of a cohesive kind of beer. But like with this, we wanted to take our Goo series and that approach and amplify it. So there's more fruit, more vanilla. In some cases, there will be more milk sugar. much more protein malt, so it has a much richer body,
Okay.
and just more of everything.
Yeah.
The paste is never going to be dry hopped. The paste will focus more on. We have 40 pounds of Lucky Charms marshmallows on the back
Yeah, I saw you guys post about that the other day.
for our next paste. So like, you know, we're gonna get a little bit more on the candy weird side, but at the same time, I don't know, try to approach it with some sort of semblance of balance.
What are you trying to get out of the Lucky Charms marshmallows that you wouldn't just get out of regular marshmallows?
Magically delicious.
Yeah.
flavor.
Yeah. That's a great answer. And how often can people expect to see a new release from the series?
Once or twice a month, every 3 weeks or so.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
That often.
Awesome.
Great.
Once
That's
a month,
really cool.
maybe.
Cool.
Somewhere in there between twice a month and once a month.
All
Are
right.
you
So
going to list all these separate ingredients on the Lucky Charms one? You know, heart stars, horseshoes.
It's actually a good idea. We haven't done it.
I haven't done the labeling.
that's all we got.
It may or may not be called Lucky Paste.
Oh.
But yeah, I mean, really, this is the Goo features artwork from a local artist, Brittany Griggs. So everyone can check
Up
her
here in
out.
Netherlands?
She's up here in Netherlands. All of
Nice.
our artists are in Netherlands. So BFG Artistry on Instagram. And then our other artist for most of our IPAs is the real Jessica Kane. And then our graphic designer, who's Jordan's awesome roommate, is Casey Pyle, Humor and Grace, or Casey Made on Instagram. But this is, I would say, the most singular expression of United Brew, because Casey made the label. She's just pure us. And I came up to her and said, I'm imagining kind of like a very simple color and spilling paint, but I want the paint to be metallic.
Cool.
And within a day, I had this design. And it's actually kind of tricky to do that with the paint
Yeah.
and all that. So because of that and just the expression, I think the consumer does want more. And the Goo, everyone tells us the Goo is so rich and diverse and all this, but they also say, and it's balanced, it's beer. This, we want that too, but it's like on the edge of beer and the other thing. You
Just
know?
something else entirely.
It is, it's paste.
Yeah.
So that's what it is.
Seems like the best place to kind of call it.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for having us here.
Yeah,
Thank
thank
you
you.
guys.
Thank
You
you
guys were
guys.
super fun, and we love just being able to come up here and hang out in your little cabin in the woods, so to speak. Steve, anything you got to plug before we get out of here?
Go Chuckle Puckers!
Fuckers, go Bills.
Go Bills!
Thanks, everybody. See ya.
Bye!
Thank you guys.
Thanks, guys.
Right on.
Sweet.
Hell yeah.